Hello everybody, Ryan Grant here and welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, I'm basically going to be going over, if you're scared to bulk, then watch this video. I've just got a couple of words to have with you. I just want to completely get rid of your fear because overall, you shouldn't really be having a fear. So that's what I'm sort of here to address for you. But before we get into this video, I just want to introduce myself very quickly. So my name is Ryan, I'm 19 years old. And over the past 4 and a bit years, I've completely transformed myself, gaining over 27 kilos from this in 2021 to now in 2025, and I'm on a mission to help skinny men do the exact same thing by having a free community, which is obviously helping men with, weight gain, muscle gain, etc, etc. So if you want to check that out, it's going to be the link in the description, but I don't want to bore you with that. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So the first thing I want to go over with you guys is you're overthinking. Bulking isn't as bad as you really may think it be. Yes, you're going to gain some fat. Yes, you're going to gain a little bit of timber. But at the end of the day, when you get to peak bulk, aka the point where you have bulked the furthest you will and you start to drop back on the body fat, it's temporary. It's not a permanent phase. It's a temporary phase in time where all you do is you put on a little bit of weight, primarily muscle, and as a side effect you are going to put on some fat, and that is one of the main reasons why people are scared to bulk. However, people just don't realise that this is temporary and it will be over, and you've got to make the temporary sacrifices if you want to have the success in the long term. And you may be talking about all of the people online I see, maybe even me, where if you've seen my physique when I'm pretty lean, or your favourite influencers online on Instagram, you may be thinking, oh, but they're not fat, they're not bulked, they're really lean and I really want to look like them. What you don't consider and what you don't understand is that they looked a whole lot different in order to get to the physique they have now. And I'll give you a fantastic example. You look at someone like Mike Thurston, absolutely phenomenal physique. No one knows whether he's natural or not, or people just, people, put accusations at him left, right and centre, but I can most certainly guarantee you that he was not that lean when he was in the building phase, when he was in your phase, when he was trying to bulk and gain muscle. He had to gain that temporary fat and make that temporary sacrifice of may not necessarily looking as aesthetic, but for the long term. And now look at him. He's peak physique, and if he is natural, then that just simply shows that, you're overthinking. And back to my point, it doesn't last forever, alright? It will be over, right? You may gain a little bit of timber in the face. Like, for example, I'll put a picture up, I'll find a picture of me a couple of months ago when I was at the height of my bulk. I did have some body fat on my face, and I did have quite a bit of body fat on my body. However, now I've been cutting for around a month, and I've lost quite a bit of it, and I'm looking better than I ever have. Right, it's just all about the temporary sacrifices for the long-term gain. And you've got to think about it like this, right? It's with anything, right? Great things don't necessarily come to you easy, right? Things of value aren't easily accessible. You've got to work for them. You've got to make temporary sacrifices. If you want to build a successful business, if you want to get really smart in a certain subject like maths, or if you want to pursue a very difficult degree, you are going to have to go through some dark times, right? But if you want to come out and actually get to arrive at the light at the end of the tunnel, you have to make these initial sacrifices first, because what is a destination without the journey? And that is the second thing that I want to go over with you guys about why you shouldn't be scared to bulk, right? So many people, and I actually had a guy message me the other day, and he basically just asked me, how long do I think it roughly takes for someone... Oh, I don't even know if I'm recording. I am. Thank goodness, thank goodness, thank goodness. Right. So as I was saying, this guy a person messaged me the other day, and he asked me how long I think it will take for him to see results, and I didn't give him a number. And the reason why I didn't give him a number is because there isn't an objective answer for that question. He said, how long would it take for me to see the results? And I said, I can't give you that answer because there is no objective answer for that, because obviously you've got the different things like people progress at different rates. It depends on how hard you train, how consistent you are with your diet, all of those things, right? However, what the main thing I said to him, and the main bit of advice I gave to him, is that his mindset is in the complete wrong place, right? If you keep thinking about the destination, and if you keep getting yourself too wound up about the destination, over wound up about the destination, so you're not necessarily enjoying the journey, then it's going to take you a lot longer to get to that end destination, or you may not even get there at all, right? Because the bulk, right, and this is why you shouldn't be scared to bulk. The bulk is the journey, right? And if there was no such thing as bulking, aka if there was no such thing as a journey, then there wouldn't be such thing as the destination. And in this term, achieving your dream physique, right? Bulking is part of the journey. Bulking is the thing that bridges the gap from you being a skinny man right now to you achieving your dream physique. And without this journey, there is no destination. And by the way, I just want to say here, focusing on the destination isn't a bad thing, right? Because obviously I have an sort of an end destination. I sort of imagine where I want to take my physique, what I want to do with my physique, and my journey in the gym, right? But at the same time, I don't let that get over me too much, right? Because if you get yourself too wound up about it, then you're going to end up getting disappointed and sad that you're not already there. Therefore, you're going to start to hate the journey because you just want to get to the destination straight away. And that is not the way to think, because the moment or when you learn that falling in love with the journey is the most important thing, and you actually start to like what you're doing. Obviously, there's going to be aspects of, you're going to find it hard to eat in a surplus all the time, or, the training can be super, super painful if you're doing legs on leg extensions. Obviously, there's going to be aspects of it that you don't like. However, if you fall in love with the process, then I can guarantee you 1000% that you are going to arrive at your destination a lot quicker than you anticipate. So that's point number 2 that I just wanted to make, right? Obviously, we've all got an end destination, and we want to get there, which is, that's completely fine. But we need to acknowledge that if there's no journey, then you will not achieve a destination, and without a journey, there's no destination. So in order to switch your mindset on it a little bit in terms of this, right, without bulking, there is no dream physique, or there is no getting to your end destination. Therefore, in order to fine tune your mindset a little bit towards bulking, actually be kind of grateful that this is a process. Actually be grateful that you have the opportunity to, obviously go on this bulking phase. You are going to gain a little bit of fat. However, that's only a temporary phase, and you've got to be thankful, because without bulking and without being able to eat a lot of food and actually gain muscle and a little bit of fat, you won't be able to achieve your dream physique, because that is truly the most efficient way to gain muscle. So it's all about switching your fine tuning your mindset. And as I said, without the journey, there is no destination. Without the bulk, there is no dream physique. Obviously, different people's dream physiques may change, but if you're watching this, then I assume you want to bulk, but you're scared to. So that's that. But that's basically point number 2. So you shouldn't be scared to bulk, because bulking is the journey, right? So be grateful for it, embrace it, and learn to fucking love it, right? Not, yeah, as I said, you may gain a little bit of fat. You may gain some fat around the waist and your face, right? But you're going to get stronger, you're going to feel a lot more energized, and you will feel better for like 99% of it, right? So that's the second thing that I wanted to go over with you guys. So we've obviously been over, you're overthinking it, and without the journey, there is no destination. So the third thing that I want to go over with you guys about why you shouldn't be scared to bulk is character building, right? I look at bulking, if I feel a little bit of intimidation towards it, when I'm lean, it's a little bit harder, because obviously, for example, right, at the end of summer 2023, I was the leanest I've ever been, right? And I wanted to bulk. I wanted to, get stronger again, eat more food, because I've been eating in a deficit for quite some time for that time, right? But I was kind of intimidated, because I didn't necessarily want to lose my abs. I didn't necessarily want to lose the vascularity. And I was looking really good, and I was really happy with my physique. However, I knew if I wanted to carry on progressing, I had to make the temporary sacrifices for the long-term gain, right? So how I like to perceive bulking is it is a phase of character building, right? It is a phase of character development, and it helps you improve and grow as a person. And if you don't necessarily go on this bulk, then you're not going to have that character development. You're not going to be able to build your character, and ultimately you want to build a character with a better physique, right? So without bulking, you won't be able to sculpt that character, as bulking is the biggest part of that process, right? You're actually doing the work in the bulking, and then when you cut down and lose the body fat, you're just sort of like, carving the edges a little bit, if that makes sense. So it truly will change you, and it has changed me, and I can most certainly say for the better. It's got its ups, but most importantly, it's got its downs and it's got its challenges, which you rise up to, you fight, you get past them, and then you achieve what you want. And that is going to bring me on to one of my next points. However, I just want to say that it will completely change you for the good. And the fact that it is scaring you right now, that is resistance, that is procrastination, creeping up upon you, right? But if you overcome that and if you fight that resistance, you fight that procrastination, and you get to the other side however many months later, then you are going to feel 10 times better about yourself. And that is growth, right? The resistance and the procrastination you're facing right now, how to grow is to face them, right? And bulking is giving you that resistance and that procrastination. So if you face it and you actually bulk, then you are going to grow as a character. Because all character growth and character building is fighting resistance, doing work when you don't want to, and beating the procrastination and any negative emotions that creep up on you, right? That is how you grow. You become uncomfortable to eventually be comfortable in the long term. And it goes back to that thing I was talking about earlier. Good things come to those who work for it. Things of value don't come to you within a click of a finger. They take time, they take work, they take patience, they take overcoming resistance, overcoming procrastination, overcoming fear, doubt, stepping into the unknown, stepping into the abyss. And this is what you have to do in this situation. However, I can most guarantee you, as someone that is at the end of the tunnel you're at the beginning of right now, I'm shining that torch down there. I'm giving you that guiding light. And I'm honestly saying to you, there is nothing bad about bulking, other than the fact that you are probably going to gain a little bit of body fat. But once again, I said that is temporary and that doesn't last forever, right? So that's another point I wanted to make. It's character building, and it has completely changed me, right? Without bulking, without the gym, without the challenges that I've faced, without really struggling to get that final meal down in a day, without really struggling to go to the gym and really not feeling like it, but I go anyway. Without those challenges, I wouldn't be in a position I am today, and I wouldn't have the physique I have today. And obviously, the main phase of that is bulking, and that's the journey. Once again, without the journey, there is no destination, right? And it's like, without bulking in your situation, there's no character building. You're not going to sculpt the character you want to become. Therefore, again, there's no end destination, right? So that's another thing that I wanted to mention. It is a phase of character building. See it as character development, right? Anytime you feel fear, resistance, procrastination, negative emotions, doubt, um, intimidation, like you are now, then just know, if you sort of step into that and you fight it, that is how you grow, right? So it's just all about that mindset. It's all about the mentality, because how one perceives the world is how their reality will be. And it's a lot easier to um, change your perceptions on reality than to change reality altogether, right? And through changing your perceptions on your reality will become different. Therefore, bulking is going to become easier, better, and you're going to enjoy it more, and you're going to get stronger, make more gains, and in turn, because you're doing this all now, making these temporary sacrifices, then you're going to make the progress in the long term. And I just want to say, it's not even necessarily like a temporary sacrifice. Like, as I just said, the only temporary sacrifice you're going to be making is a slight increase in body fat, and you may not necessarily be as aesthetic for a certain period of time. However, that's not really a sacrifice, right? And then I just want to mention this as well. It just popped in my head. On that point, you got to, as I said, with the fine tuning your mindset, and it's important how you perceive things. Look at it as a privilege, right? Thousands of years ago, people did not have enough. People didn't know what the gym was. People didn't know what bulking was. People didn't have enough food. Most importantly, to consume, therefore put energy and calories towards muscle building, because as a matter of fact, muscle building is last on the body's priority ladder, because obviously the body's got to use calories to survive first. However, you should look at this opportunity as a privilege, because nowadays it's so easy to get access to a lot of food. Therefore, it's easier to eat in the surplus. Therefore, you can in turn gain muscle. So look at the opportunity you have to bulk nowadays as a fucking privilege, okay? Because obviously our ancestors didn't. But that's just another thing, right? And that may seem really, really out there. But again, it's the mindset, right? How one perceives something is how their reality will be. And if you keep perceiving bulking to be bad, scary, a bad process, then that's how it's going to turn out if you try it. However, if you fine tune your mindset and look at it as a period of character development, it doesn't last forever. It's all about delayed gratification, sacrifice now, long time later. If you look at it like that, then it's going to be so much easier and you'll actually get better results. All right. So all this video is sort of just giving you mindsets to adapt towards bulking, because the better your mindset is, the better the outcome and the better the results will be when you execute the work, right? So that's the penultimate point I wanted to go over. Point number 3. So the character building, it has completely changed me as a person, and without bulking, I wouldn't have the physique or be doing this or doing anything I am today, right? And the final thing that I want to go over with you guys is regret, right? I want to ask you a couple of questions, right? So one that I really, really like to ask the guys in my community when they feel procrastination, fear, doubt, or anxiety or negative emotions towards anything, right, is two scenarios, right? The first one is sort of the short term, like today, and the second one is the long term, in like 5 years or 10 years, but it goes on the same narrative. So if you got to do something today, right? For example, eat a meal that you really don't want to eat because you don't feel hungry, or you don't feel like going to the gym at all, then ask yourself this question: how would I feel at the end of the day sitting on my sofa knowing that I didn't do the work I needed to do today, knowing that I didn't take a step closer towards where I want to be, and I vowed and I swore to myself that I was going to do whatever it took, and I didn't do that today? How would you feel? That would make you feel fucking awful, wouldn't it? And it's the exact same thing with this, right? If you keep going day after day after day after day after day, procrastinating in fear, doubt, negative emotions coming all over you, procrastination, it's lingering, then not only is that going to make you feel shit, but that can also affect you mentally as well. So if you actually started to take action, I can most guarantee you will feel so much weight be lifted off your shoulders, and you'll actually be like, oh, this isn't as bad. I get to eat more food, I get bigger, I get stronger, and I'm completely changing, not just physically but mentally and as a character as well, right? And the second scenario I want to give you is sort of in the long term, right? So obviously, as I've mentioned before, you have this destination, right? You probably have an idea of what you want to be looking like within the next 5 to 10 years, or scrap the time frame, your dream self, but that will probably take anywhere between 5 to 10 years anyway, because it is a pretty long process. But I want to ask you this one question: so in 5 to 10 years time, do you want to be looking down at yourself sitting on your sofa at a skinny physique, no muscle on your arms, absolute twigs for legs, and the reason why is because you're still procrastinating, you're still in fear, you're still in doubt, you've still got these negative emotions washing all over you, and you're intimidated to go to the gym, and you think bulking is bad, right? That's the main thing, and you're just scared to do it. How would you feel? That would make you feel so awful, because you could have done the whole process by now. You could have gotten over those negative emotions, the doubt, the fear, the procrastination towards bulking within those 5 to 10 years prior. But instead, you just chose to sit there with the thoughts, with all the negative emotions, with the doubt, the fear, the procrastination, and it got over you, and you're still in the same position as you were 5 to 10 years ago, and it's just going to make you feel so shit about yourself. And as I said, it can damage your mental health, right? So would you rather live with the pain of discipline now, with the pain of overcoming your resistance, the pain of overcoming your fear, the negative emotions, the doubt, the procrastination, by actually picking up the fork and eating a little bit more food than you need day to day in order for you to gain weight, and you go to the gym and you get stronger and you get better, and then in 5 to 10 years, because you've been through this phase now, you're going to have so much muscle, you're going to be sitting there with your dream physique, you know, everything you imagined? Or do you want to live with the regret that you didn't start earlier, and 10 years down the line you realise um, that it's not big of a deal, I'm an idiot because I let the emotions get over me and I didn't do it because of that, and now it's too late to start because I'm too old, um, or my life has just gone to shit, or I don't know, right? That's just something to think about, and that's sort of a thought I want to leave you with. Um, thank you very much for watching. That is now the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I really hope I have sort of fine-tuned your mindset, because that was the intention of this video. So now I'm assuming that you may not necessarily be scared to bulk, and right after this you're going to go pick up a fork, work out what your calorie surplus is, get down to the gym, get lifting heavy, lift well, lift hard, get bigger, get stronger. Temporary sacrifices now, long-term gain later. Discomfort now, overcoming any fear, any doubt. Comfort later, dream physique later, dream life later, right? Because honestly, the gym, the discipline and the lessons that the gym teach you are so transferable into every single aspect of your life. Your study, your work, your family life, your social life. It's all transferable, and the gym has genuinely changed my life. And that's why you may be hearing this passion in my voice, because it's genuinely changed my life, and I don't know where I'll be without it. And that may be seem like I'm over exaggerating, but I'm truly not, right? But anyway, let me get back on track, because I'm completely losing myself here. Thank you very much for watching. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to learn more from me, I have a free community down below that helps men with their weight and muscle gain problems, and obviously help them gain weight and gain muscle the SlimToSculpt way. The community is called the SlimToSculpt Alliance, if you didn't get that reference. It's going to be the top link in the description. There's all sorts in there. I'm sure you'll love it. But if you want to stay on YouTube, then that's completely fine. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a thumbs up. Comment down below anything that stood out to you. If this video had an effect on you, anything I may have missed, I don't know. And if you want to stay around, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, so a subscription would genuinely go a long way, and it would be a pleasure to be able to help you further through my YouTube videos. So, without further ado, I will see you in the next video.